In fact, Wilson and Santana tag. Santana will score. Wilson to third. 6-3 New York. And John McNamara will now bring in Bob Stanley to pitch to Gary Carter. 3 runs charged to Bruce Hurst. He does not have a decision. 3 runs charged to Schiraldi. He will have a decision unless the Sox can come back. It is 6-3 New York. 2 out in the 7th, and we'll be back. McNamara for the moment with his head down. The Mets leading the Red Sox 6-3 in the 7th inning. And Bob Stanley will go head-to-head with Gary Carter. Wally Backman is at first. Mookie Wilson is at third. And of course it was Stanley who threw the wild pitch that turned Shea Stadium into the madhouse the other night. Carter tried to bunt for a hit, grounded out, picked up an RBI on a force play. Ball 1. Don't forget, the Red Sox will have Buckner, Rice, and Evans in the top of the 8th. 55,032 at Shea. It sounds like 100,000. Chopper to Owen. Tough play. Got him at first. Otherwise, another run. But the Mets come up with 3 more. And at the end of 7, the Mets 6 and the Red Sox 3. This telecast is presented by authority of Major League Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of Major League Baseball. What we have now is a brief show of strength to the 55,032. The policemen on horseback, along with police in the stands, by inference telling the crowd they will not allow the exhibition that occurred here when the Mets clinched the pennant.
That bullpen has been turned into a horse pen. That's where they are, and they're going to come out. What a show of strength. There they are in the bullpens.
And we can only hope that if and when this crowd celebrates, they will be dissuaded from any wild acts, because from what they tell me, when the Mets won the pennant here, it looked more like sharks at feeding time. However, the Sox have 6 outs left with Buckner, Rice, and Evans coming up in the 8th inning. And Roger McDowell, who is in his 5th game, 5 of 7, pitching to Buckner. Right. Bill Buckner singled to right, lined out to center, and flied to right. But those at-bats were against Ron Darling. The Sox jumped out to a 3-0 lead, and there's a looping single to left. That's only the 2nd hit for Boston since the 2nd inning. So they just stopped completely, and the reason they stopped so completely was the performance by left-hander Sid Fernandez in the 4th, 5th, and 6th innings. There, as you can see, the newcomers. Backman, of course, came in, having run for Tuffle in the 6th inning. Dykstra taking over in center, and Wilson moving over to left. Fouled away. Jim Rice trying to get his ball club back in the ball game. As we mentioned earlier, Rice has only had 5 at-bats in the entire series with a runner in scoring position. Fouled away. And he led off the inning. 1 out of 3 at-bats tonight, so just about half of his at-bats in the series, he's been the leadoff man. And he's going to be in trouble doing that.
And with McDowell pitching, they don't expect him to pull the ball. They're really bunching him up the middle.
On deck, representing a possible tying run, Dwight Evans. Rice lined out to right, so he can take a sinker ball that way. Single to left, and then struck out against Sid Fernandez in the 5th inning. One and 2. Two and 2. It happened in 3s tonight. The Red Sox got 3 in the 2nd inning. The Mets got 3 in the 6th. The Mets got 3 in the 7th. And Washington got 3 in the half. 2 and 2. Line drive gets on by as it explodes. And McDowell now is in trouble. A low ball pitcher against a low ball hitter who represents the tying run, Dwight Evans, and nobody out.
He got that pitch up to Rice. They had him played pretty well. The defense was there, but he hit it so hard it just got right on by him. You can see the ball is up. A sinker ball, he can't pitch there. And Santana, even at that, almost came up with it. And now it is strength against strength.
In the Mets bullpen for the 2nd time, left-hander Jesse Orosco begins to loosen up. Evans homered in the 2nd, flied to center and struck out. Buckner at 2nd, Rice at 1st, nobody out. 4-1. On deck is the left-hand hitting Rich Gedman. And Orosco in the wings. Strike. 1-1.
Davey Johnson made a pinch running move when he put Backman in. You wonder if McNamara is thinking about Buckner at 2nd base, at least pick up that run. It's going to be tough for Buckner to score on a single.
There's no speed at all out there with Buckner and Rice. And that's going to be hit into right center field. That's a base hit. And even Buckner on one leg will score easily. And let's watch Rice. They're going to wave him in. Backman has no play, and the Sox have come back with 2, and the Mets lead is now 6-5. And the tying run is at 2nd base with nobody out.
Evans really plugged the gap in right center field. Dykstra in center field, shading him a bit towards left center, a lot of room. And watch Buckner, he sees it fall, and here he comes. It rolls all the way to the fence, and Buckner able to score, as did Rice. Easily.
And when you can score Buckner and Rice without a play, and Backman had no play whatsoever, you know that ball was hit deep into right center, and that's going to be all. Roger McDowell, who has appeared in 5 of the 7 games, has had to leave. Jesse Orosco will be coming in to pitch to Rich Gedman. Hold on to your hats. We'll be back. Jesse Orosco making his 4th appearance in this World Series. His earned run average is 0-0. 8-6. He was whispering before the ball game that he had a sore throat, but that his arm is fine.
We've got an identical situation here when Santana was up there with the man on 2nd base, Dykstra, after the pitch out wild pitch. He tried to hit the ground ball to the right side, ended up with a base hit. Gedman is in that same situation. he has to try to pull that ball, at least get the ground ball, and move Evans over to third base with 1 out. He's got to pick up a base with the out.
Rich Gedman homered off Darryl Strawberry's glove in the second inning when Ron Darling was pitching. Grounded out in the third. Struck out in the sixth, you remember, on 3 pitches by Sid Fernandez. Davey Johnson wants to talk to John Kibler for the moment.
Gedman was really looking at Rene Latchman, and the Mets even halfway looking for the bunt here, maybe all the way looking. Now Kibler wants to talk to Harry Wendelstedt. No idea what's happening.
I was trying to get lucky and read some lips, but it didn't work.
If Hernandez gets that ball, he may go to third base. He's in close. Backman is back at second.
The bench was hollering at Ray Knight, and he's come up. He's about even with the bag at third now. So the tying run is at second base, nobody out, and Orozco going head-to-head with Rich Gedman. 6-5 Mets, 8th inning. Gedman all year had 1 sacrifice.
Orozco's not sure of the signs at all, and I tell you, in a spot like this, you'd almost say, hey, 1's a fastball, 2's a curve, no trick plays with Evans on at second base. And
you know what I think?
What?
I think maybe Davey Johnson wanted to find out about instructing Orozco on a bunt situation, and yet would that constitute a trip to the mound? That could be what they were talking about.
Now they're going to appeal a play
runner
here.
Missing at third. No, says Joe Brinkman. Well, why would he talk to Kibler and Wendelstedt?
And why would they wait 30 minutes to do it?
Okay, it's 6-5 Mets. Tying run at second, nobody out. Gedman followed by Henderson, and then Owen. Sweeping curveball, 0-1. Of course, if you get that slow curve, that's about the best pitch you can handle to get a bunt, but I don't think McNamara is thinking bunt.
Well, Roscoe is thinking one thing. He's got to go for the strikeout.
0-1.
Another curveball.
The old axiom, and that was violated the other night. Bunt at home, you bunt to win on the road. Well, Gedman hacking away, 0-2. 0-1.
What you just said was according to the book.
Right, and the book is gone.
That's right. The other night, first and second, Johnson decided not to bunt because Howard Johnson didn't look good on the first attempt. So that book, forget it, it's been burned.
1-2 to Rich Gedman. And he's going to hit a line drive at Backman over to Santana. Not in time. Boy, was that close. Woo. And I'll tell you one thing, Santana had a little heat to handle on the dead run. Backman fired it. Good play by Santana.
And good play by Backman, and a great play by Dwight Evans. You can see he started to lean, and Backman, he really guns it over there. Santana very alertly there, but Evans, a good piece of base running.
So Gedman line drive at Backman, 1 out, and of course that's a very expensive out late in the game. If he makes an out, if that ball hits the ground first and he's able to move his man to third, you'd have the tying run 90 feet away. If you're wondering about Don Baylor, he is on the steps of the Red Sox dugout. The steps. There he is. So 1 out. Evans at second. 6-5 Mets in the 8th inning. Henderson walked, was hit by a pitch, and flied to center.
And the way they're defensing Henderson, Evans at second base will be able to get a pretty good sized lead because he'll be able to watch the second baseman Backman. You can see they're playing him to pull. Knight will guard the line. Santana near the hole, and you can see where Backman is, so Evans can keep an eye on him and get a pretty good lead.
Single by Buckner, single by Rice, and a double by Evans to get the Sox back in the game. Mets lead 6-5. It's been Darling, Fernandez, McDowell, and Orozco. And they're up on their feet again at Shea. In the dirt, blocked nicely by Carter, and Evans has to hold at second.
Once again, Carter keeps that ball in front of him, and there's nothing Evans can do. When you see that ball in front of you, the first rule is don't go anywhere. You'll watch it here.
Henderson getting a lot of curveballs. Remember, he took Aguilera deep for the home run in the 10th inning Saturday night. 1-2. Spike Owen.
There is Orozco throwing the curveball. There was no way Henderson was going to see a fastball. The target was the right kneecap, and Carter making the save on that one that bounced there was a big play at that time at bat because Orozco comes back with the strike. And now they're having a big meeting on the mound as to what they're going to do with Baylor.
Baylor has had 10 at-bats in the series. He has 2 hits. One of the 2 hits a double, and 1 run batted in. So the man who became the designated sitter in the National League now comes up trying to get the Sox even. And the key, of course, Gedman's line drive at Backman. Tying run, Dwight Evans at second base.
Baylor pretty much the way they pitched Henderson. Stay away from the fastball, show him the fastball, make him hit the breaking ball.
And Orozco's best pitch is a slider, but he started him with the slow breaking ball. Ground ball to the hole. That's where Santana was playing him. Got him. And the Sox lead the tying run at second base with nobody out. 6-5 New York. Yes. It is head-shaking time for a frustrated and disappointed Don Baylor as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. 6-5 New York Mets, and this is the epitome, the pinnacle of all baseball, to get the final game of a 7-game World Series, a 1-run game, and the home club coming back to take the lead, and the visiting team really making a run.
And both clubs really battling. So far, the difference has been the Santana ground ball, which went for the base hit.
In the bottom of the 8th inning, 2 changes for the Red Sox. Al Nipper is on the mound, and Ed Romero is at shortstop. If you're keeping score, put Nipper in the number 8 spot, occupied by Owen. And Romero, number 9, so he's due to lead off in the 9th inning. The Sox got 3 in the 2nd inning, but maybe the turning point, certainly emotionally, was the job that Sid Fernandez did to stop the Sox, inspire the crowd, which in turn seemed to inspire the hitters. And here's Strawberry, fouled away.
And he had to do it twice, Vin. If you remember in that 5th inning when he ended by striking out Rice and Evans, the crowd was really up, and then Hurst came back and he shut the Mets down, and Fernandez came back and did it again in the 6th.
Ground foul to Bill Robinson, 0-2. It's been Bruce Hurst, Calvin Schiraldi, who is the pitcher of record, Joe Sambito, Bob Stanley, and Al Nipper. The Mets have used Ron Darling, Sid Fernandez, Roger McDowell, and Jesse Orosco.
And one of the big questions will be whatever happened to Oil Can Boy.
High drive into deep right field. Evans back at the wall. Gone. A strike to Ray Knight. Knight, who singled to center, grounded to short, and homered in the 7th inning. 7-5 New York. And if you are young Darryl Strawberry, you must sit in the dugout and think, take your Darryl, Darryl. And the place bombarded now with rolls of paper, which will do nothing but slow it up. Knight will be followed by Lenny Dykstra. Here's another look at that skyrocket, a towering drive that went out at about the 370 sign, and he knew it immediately. It'll take him about 20 minutes to go around the base path.
Oh, he really took his time. It was one of those majestic home runs, a towering drive, and he was going to enjoy it as much as anybody.
That's the look in Game 5 when the whole right field stance. Darryl, Darryl. It took him a while, but he answered them tonight. Up the middle, base hit for Ray Knight. In the Red Sox dugout, as Rene Lachemann charts every pitch. To look ahead for Boston, they will have Ed Romero, Wade Boggs, and Marty Barrett. And the Mets hitters are trying to lighten the load for Jesse Orosco. Here's Dykstra. Dykstra batted for Mitchell in the 7th inning and singled to right. That's when the Mets broke the 3-3 tie. One and 0. Looked like a knuckleball. The Mets won 115 games up to here. The Sox had won 102. And the payoff is tonight with 3 outs to go. Right. 1-1. Santana on deck. Two balls, 1 strike. Ball 3. And Bruce Hurst, who pitched so magnificently, won twice, went 6 innings and had his team even when he came out. He is not involved with the decision, but he's the youngster who was voted the MVP, and of course he'll lose that award. Hit up the middle, but in motion is the shortstop Romero, who is breaking to cover, and by being in motion he takes a hit away from Dykstra. Knight into second base.
Looks like it's going to get through there, but Romero was breaking to cover second base and was in perfect position and really turns it into a routine play.
Rafael Santana, who had a key hit in the 7th inning when he singled inside first base to drive in Dykstra. 1 for 3.
And it was a good pitch that Giraldi made to Santana, who was trying to hit the ground ball and be sure he picked up the base if he did make the out, but he jammed him. Santana swung and got it between Buckner and the bag and drove in a big run.
Santana struck out, grounded out, and then singled. They are going to walk him intentionally with Orozco coming up. And Orozco might very well be asked to bunt, and Mookie Wilson would then come up.
Used the bunt as a defensive play to the point to stay away from the double play, which would end the inning.
Again, while we have the moment, the Red Sox are due to send up in the 9th inning Ed Romero, Wade Boggs, and Marty Barrett. And remember, the Red Sox won 19 games, including the playoffs, in their last at-bat. So like the Mets, they show and have shown remarkable resiliency. Orozco has only had 3 at-bats all year, and he does not have a sacrifice. And a meeting at the mound.
I'd almost bet the house that he's going to bunt the ball.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that's what they're talking about. Lay the ball in there, and maybe we can make a play at third.
So Al Nipper, he was the man who was sent to the mound in John McNamara's calculated gamble. And the Mets eventually won the game 6-2. Nipper went 6 innings and allowed 3 runs in that game. And now Nipper, in the 8th inning of the 7th game, somehow trying to restrain the Mets from opening up a 7-5 lead. He's bunting. Ball 1. What they do is, as you can see, they're really squeezing the plate. Ed Romero is breaking to cover the bag at third. That allows Boggs and Buckner to come full tilt towards the plate.
Orozco is not sure. He doesn't get up that much. Harrelson's going to make sure, but again, he's got to bunt. He has to bunt to keep the inning alive.
They're coming. Strike. And that time Romero, and they were setting it up. Romero, instead of racing for third, circled back to second. 1-1. Ray Knight at second. Rafael Santana at first. 1 out. swinging, and a ground ball into center field. In comes Knight. It is 8-5 Mets, and Joe, you just lost your house.
Davy Johnson, I tell you, is living a charmed life. He's the only guy in the ballpark that thought he should hit, and it paid off for him again.
That had to be an invitation, of course, with Boggs charging the plate. Romero breaking to third. There just wasn't anybody there capable of handling a ground ball.
And Orozco does it perfectly. He just puts the bat on the ball, and everybody's moving. The closest man was Marty Barrett. And you've got to take your hat off to Davy Johnson once again. He walks that fine line. He did it the other night by not bunting with Howard Johnson. Got away with it and gets a big base hit here.
John McNamara bringing a hook with him, I believe. He'll go to Steve Crawford. And we shall return. Darryl Strawberry jeered in Boston, frustrated here when the ball went off his glove, and a hero. And on the other side, a very bitter moment for all of the Red Sox. It is 8-5 New York.
Now I once saw a line by Louis Grizzard that really captures that picture. He said, "Losing hurts worse than winning feels good."
Well, boy, it sure hurts worse in the Boston dugout. Listen to this crowd and that chant. That was Al Nipper with his face buried in the cloth. The dramatic shot and reminding you of Calvin Schiraldi's sad moment in Anaheim. If you're wondering, Jesse Orozco has been in the big leagues 5.5 years. He had 10 hits. High slicing foul off third, down the line, back into the crowd, out of play. So in the inning, Strawberry homered, Knight singled, Dykstra grounding out, advancing Knight. Santana walked intentionally. Orozco singles in Knight. And Mookie Wilson against Steve Crawford.
10 hits in 5 years.
Why not let him swing?
With that kind of managerial strategy, Johnson ought to be buying lottery tickets after the game.
0-1. Hit him. Yep, he goes to first. And that will load the bases. Mookie's quick, but that one nailed him. It was Mookie, you remember, at the plate on the wild pitch. Saturday night. Here's Saturday night. The pitch that didn't hit him, thrown by Stanley, that went to the backstop. So the Mets have loaded the bases. The infield has to play up. The Mets leading 8-5. Ground ball and a broken bat. Barrett to the plate for the force to Gedman. And Santana is erased and everybody moves up 90 feet. So Backman is at first. Wilson is at second. Orozco has reached third. And Santana out.
Watch how sure Marty Barrett makes the play. He looks, finds his man, and throws a strike.
2 out. They're picking up the pieces of that shattered bat. And here's Keith Hernandez. Al Nipper remains motionless in his grief in the Boston dugout. For Hernandez, it's his third at bat with the bases loaded tonight. He singled to drive in 2 in the 6th. His scoring fly ball picked up a run in the 7th. And here he is with a full plate in the 8th. 1 ball and no strikes. 8-5 New York, bottom of the 8th. Strike. Joe Brinkman, the third base umpire, but John Kibler had already called it a strike anyway. 1-1. One. 2-1. Steve Crawford, the 6th Boston pitcher. Schiraldi is still the pitcher of record. And there's one hit and short hop by Barrett. Keeps it in front of him and throws to Buckner. And the inning is over, but the Mets get 2 more. And at the end of 8, as the champagne gets colder, the Mets 8, Red Sox 5, and they're 3 outs from pulling the cord. The culmination of the impossible dream in 1969, a fly ball to left field for the last out, and the Mets are the world's champions. What made it interesting, the batter who made that last out is right there. The manager of the Mets, Davey Johnson.
The Boston Red Sox